You ever try to put a new drive in an older computer, maybe an SSD, or swapping out the NVMe drive, or maybe you're just selling the computer and want to keep your personal information with you and put a new drive in there with a new install of Windows or whatever operating system you might have? Yeah, we tried it with an HP Omen. Bad omen. So on the surface, this seems easy enough. My friend Dustin was selling his computer. It's an HP Omen that has a 12700K, a RTX 3060 Ti, DDR4 memory. I believe it was running at 3600 megatransfers per second. Solid computer, but he's got a deal on another computer that he's going to get. It's a newer computer, newer series graphics cards and all that stuff, DDR5 memory. Didn't want to have his personal information on the old computer, so he called me up. Hey, look, can we swap this out? Put a new drive in there, a Windows application or Windows operating system, and let him go ahead and start fresh. Of course we can. That's not a problem. I went ahead and prepped things by getting the Windows Media Creation tool. I figured we'd go ahead and start with Windows 10 because you can upgrade to 11 free, but Windows 10 will allow you to use a local account, so I don't have to have anybody's personal information when I'm putting this on there. I can let them use their own account to do everything with. Got everything situated, got everything set up. Dustin brings the computer over, and guess what? Yeah, me too. Yeah, what? It boot loops. It sits there and acts like it's going to, go into Windows, has a little circle, and it turns off. And it comes back on, and it turns back off. And after doing this a couple times, it's like, no, that's not right. Let me go ahead and make sure we get into the BIOS and check this out. And we can't get into the BIOS. Now, on an HP, usually the escape or the F10 are going to be able to get you to the UEFI or the BIOS or some settings where you can get back to the BIOS and see where your drives are, if your memory is being detected, what your CPU is, and all that good stuff. But in this case, we couldn't get into the BIOS. Now, after a little while of trying this over and over and over and physically taking the drive out, putting a different drive back in, trying again, we were able to actually get into the BIOS. We're actually able to make sure that it did read that is a bootable drive the correct way, and thought maybe there's something wrong with the Windows installation. We'll just go ahead and reinstall Windows. Went ahead and took my little media creation tool, my USB stick that has that on there, stuck it in there, and it went, and it started to go set up Windows, and what do you know, it didn't see a drive. Although we know that the BIOS saw a drive. So again, we checked other things out. I took the USB out, we tried his original drive, and it came right up. So then it's a matter of, okay, now what is going on here? What exactly is the deal? Tried reinstalling Windows again, came to the same thing. It doesn't detect any drive. But also out of curiosity, left his in there because his worked. Tried with the other drive, and Windows didn't even see his drive. Because my thought was, we'll bring this up, we'll go ahead and stick the USB in. We know his drive is there. It should show up. Even if the old drive does not show up, we'll find out. Now, we weren't going to leave his drive in there, so that was a moot point. But it didn't show up either drive. So then we thought, okay, there's some kind of an issue here. So after some hunting and searching, I finally found one reference in a YouTube video, and I will go ahead and link it below because this guy got a like and a subscribe for me because they were dealing with an Omen laptop. And usually when you go and look for these troubleshooting things online or on a YouTube video or something like that, they'll tell you the same thing. Oh, you just get into the BIOS and you change the settings. This wasn't the case. This in the BIOS was seeing it. However, it was not registering when you were trying to install Windows. This one reference that I found, and like I said, I'll link it below, found out that there is actually an Intel driver that has to be installed on that drive in order for the Windows Media Creation tool to be able to see that there is in fact a drive that needs to have Windows installed on it. I would have thought, okay, this is an HP driver. This is something obscure or whatever, or snuck, behind somewhere. Look behind the curtain, or don't look behind the curtain, or whatever the deal was. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain, that type of thing. No, this is an Intel driver. And if I think about it, I'll go ahead and I'll post what driver it is. But I'll at the very least give you a screenshot of where we found the driver and link to the video down below. But even getting the driver itself was a little bit difficult to do because, see, you had to go ahead and download the exe file from HP's site, blow that out, and 7-zip was the tool that we used to do that, where we could go ahead and select the individual files that are inside that exe file. Was able to do that to look for a particular file, an Intel driver, that we could then put on a different USB stick, put it in the back of the computer along with the bootable USB and the drive that was already in there that was going to get the operating system. And finally it says, oh, look for drivers. And we look for the driver, there it is, and everything comes up normal. But when we went to go put the new version that I bought, the CD key for the new install, we come to find out that it's already got a CD key that's registered for that computer. So I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that was held in the BIOS somewhere, that was a backup. I don't know if that was actually in that driver somewhere, or if it generated a new one just to say, oh, by the way, I don't have an operating system. Here's one for you. I have no idea. But in any case, we managed to go ahead and get this to come up. Everything worked fine. Everything worked normally. We were able to go ahead and install HP Omen, the desktop, so you could change all the lights and all that stuff. Upgraded, or they already did have the NVIDIA driver. I went ahead and made sure it had the latest NVIDIA driver for his RTX 3060, and lo and behold, we're good to go. It is Windows 10. We set him up a local account. He should be prompted by the time he sees this video. He's probably going to be prompted to say, hey, look, you know, Windows 11 is ready to download. Do you want to go ahead and do it? So that hopefully that will go well in his favor, go easily. And if not, they've got my number. So we can do this all over again. That step will be much, much easier than the first step. But Dustin and I were sitting there scratching our heads, and the only thing we could think of was that, you know, this has got to be some kind of weird, obscure thing where maybe it's not supposed to work. And he and I are going to laugh about it later because it's an inside joke that came out of this. But one thing I did make sure I did when I first got the drive was make sure that it would work in an HP Omen. That crucial P3 Plus PCIe 4 1 terabyte drive works. It's on their site. It's one of those things that yeah, absolutely, this is a compatible drive. So I knew that was working. But there was nothing else that said anything else about needing that additional Intel driver to make sure that Windows would see the drive that needs to have Windows installed on it, so you could go ahead and load a brand new drive into your HP Omen. So thanks HP for confusing the heck out of us. Thanks Intel for having an obscure driver that needs to be found in a folder in an executable file so that Windows can see that it needs to install on a drive that's actually present. And thanks to lapfix is where I actually found the video. And like I said, I'll go ahead and link it below. The only place I found the reference to the actual problem that I was having with the HP Omen. If anybody else has this problem, or anybody else has experienced this or run into this, let me know. I know that it's very difficult sometimes, and you can get caught up in weird drivers and weird things that shouldn't be a problem that are. But this one had us scratching our heads for a little while. And even though we knew we were doing everything right, it just didn't want to work like it was supposed to. Hey, it is what it is. We live and learn, right? But we know for the next time. But it was all said and done. It was a pretty fun experience. We got it all taken care of. We got it all fixed up, and everything's good to go. And hopefully this computer will run for many years and do very, very well. You know, it's just one of those things that now we will know. And now you better believe if I ever see a problem like that come up again, I'm going to be like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. There was this one time. Yeah. Anyway, if you got anything out of the video, found it interesting, or just kind of curious, go ahead and leave a like on it. If you're not already subscribed, please do. Got some other stuff going on, including we're taking a look at Starfield on an A750, ARC A750 coming up. This video actually preempted the other one. That's part of the reason why this one was late, is because I was in the middle of the other one and figured we'd stop, you know, just hold the presses and get this going, because this is far more interesting and fresh on our minds. And so we'd put this out first. The Starfield video will be coming out. Just pushed 800 subscribers. Thank you all for that. It is incredible. And if you don't do anything else, like visit the other socials or anything, please do me just one favor, and that's be kind to each other. Be good to each other. Smile, wave, hold the door open, something, anything. You never know what little gesture you make can make such a huge difference in somebody's day, somebody's week, or more. You have no idea if you might be the reason why somebody's having a better day today than they might have yesterday. So do that for me, okay? So more stuff coming out, but until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, I'll see you later.